Hey everybody, this is part two of a two-part conversation. Me and Kyle Ott, the dork of Desks and Dorks, really hit it off. This was a late night call too. We were both kind of like ready to get off this call and go to bed, but we talked for quite some time. So I busted this down into two parts. There is no natural transition within the video itself because we were just vibing. So enjoy part two. Part one is already up if you haven't seen it, but you can jump in halfway if you like, watch this and then that, but I might do it in order. All right, enjoy. Everybody go watch all of the incredible content over at Desks and Dorks on YouTube and hop over everywhere. Links down below, itch, everywhere. Get awesome games from this awesome human being and the rest of the team
Um,
over at Desks and Dorks.
and you know what? I guess as an added thank you, I might, you know what? I might even drop the price on After the Rain, which is our first game. So if you go to itch, usually it's about $8. I think I'm gonna drop it down to 5 for a little bit. So by the time this comes out, if you're a viewer of Ryan's content, you can thank Ryan for that little discount. Go enjoy that if you're interested in those kind of feelings. That's my thank you to Ryan's community for
Um,
getting me on the video.
Heck yeah,
Um,
appreciate that, and I like again the built-in last stand is maybe not exactly what that game is doing, but the ticking clock, the like enjoy it while you have it because this game is going to end. Like I love a game that does that and that has it built in such an evoc. Tell us about that because
so
you'll do a
sure.
better job pitching it than
Yeah,
I
sure, sure, sure,
will.
sure. No, I mean, we listen. You've got me for another hour at least, man. So
Sweet.
no, I'm having this is a blast because a lot of times one of the things that I'm thinking about when I make games is like these spaces of like what kind of feeling I'm trying to evoke. And so for After the Rain, um, I had been professionally GMing for about a year and a half at that point, and I was running 5e campaigns. I was basically running like 2 or 3 5e campaigns a day for like a couple months. And I realized that there were the same problems that I was seeing, and I wanted to fix them. So there's three things I think that make the game pretty special. We got rid of character stats entirely because I found that a lot of players really only engaged with 2 or 3 facets of their character, and so I was like, well, let's just call them facets. And so those are aspects of your character that you've got. You've got 3 of them. So it's causes that you care about, people who are important to you, memories that matter, things that you love, and the things that sort of make you who you are, the 3 pillars of your character, essentially. And as you progress in this little game of ours, it's a cooperative experience. You are going to be faced with the titular rain. And as that happens, those stats start to slip away, literally washing away in the rain. So if a stat ever hits 0, a facet ever hits 0, it is as if it never existed at all. And so the day that I knew the game had to be made, so fun this I don't know if I've ever gotten into this story. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. At least maybe not in this public of a setting. I lied about who made After the Rain the
Ooh,
first time that it
juicy.
was played. Well, because my biggest fear as a designer, and actually before I reveal this, do you have a big fear as a designer? Actually, I know this is a big segue, but I've always wanted to ask this question to another designer, another person in space. Like, what's your biggest fear as a designer? Do you have one?
I think it's like there's this amorphous anxiety of like the inability to accurately assess your own work. And like
Ooh,
I don't even know if that's true or not, right? Like I
okay.
do think I'm actually pretty decent at being like this needs to be better, but it's never going to be good enough, right? So like I've calibrated into that, but there's always in the back of my mind like it's impossible for me to judge this as if I hadn't made it without some sort of
No, I like that.
preternatural intervention by some magical rain or something. There's no way. So like
Yeah,
and again, that might go deeper than just like that might be Ryan, not just like designer Ryan, but
yeah,
like, is this good enough? Am I good
yeah.
enough?
I
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
that's at the heart of it.
Okay, okay. So then and see, this is why I can. You and I are good friends now. We're friends now. This is official. We're having
Agreed.
soft tacos later. It's good. Because like your
Speaking my
fear.
language.
Let's see. This is why we're friends. So this is the fear that I have, right? And I like working already with you because you were so able to be like, no, I know what my fear is as a designer. My fear as a designer is I have what has often been described as a very approachable nature, and a golden retriever-esque personality. And so I've been very lucky, knock on wood, at being able to like win influence and have friends and make lasting relationships. My biggest fear as a designer is that the magic resides not in the games that I make, but in me, because that doesn't work. If you like a game because you played it with Kyle Ott, but you don't like the game when you play it without me, I have failed. So for
Hmm.
me, that's the biggest worry. And so I was so adamant about After the Rain, and I'll tell you why. So I lied to the people who played it with me.
Because you pretended like this isn't
I
mine.
was like, guys, I found this cool system. I had some friends come over, and I was like, I really want to run this game with you guys. I read the rule book over the weekend. It seems pretty cool. The only person, the only person that I don't even know if my brother knew. I think he did. And we played it, and the minute I knew the game was going to get published, one of our players, her facet for her character was revenge, was vengeance, and it was set at a six. So facets go from 1 to 6. It's only use six-sided dice. If it's a six, it's like one of the most important things to your person. It is a defining trait of their character. Vengeance set at a 6. Somebody killed their family. The last time that we saw that character, she had killed the person who killed her family. And so she is standing over the body, holding a smoking gun in the pouring rain as that facet hits 0,
Mm.
which means that
Mm.
she is standing over the body, holding the smoking gun, looking up into the night sky, having no idea why she did it. And every person at that table sat there in flabbergasted silence, and they were like, holy shit. And I was like, this is the game that we've got. So if you like that kind of loss, that sort of timer, that's the thing for you. That's really the big selling point. I will say the thing that I think it's undersold is we have a system called connections, because I got sick of playing 6 sessions and like players finally getting to know each other after 6, or everybody meets in a tavern. And so what we did is we made a web of connections. It's almost like a circle. So like you know somebody, somebody knows another person, they know somebody else, and the connection can only face one way. So you might not know player C, but you know player B who knows player C. And so the web of connections kind of comes together. So those are the big selling points. But I think as more of a stepping point, using After the Rain as a stepping point into a greater conversation on game design. I think the things that like we're really afraid of as people, I think make great games. Like
Mm.
and like for me, it was just like this was cool. I played that game by the way, and my graphic designer was at the table and agreed to work for us at a greatly reduced cost than what she should have. Because she was part of that table. She was not the character who killed the person, but she sat there and she's like, I just want my name on this. I was like, sweet. So yeah, I did it twice, by the way, and then I tricked my then at the time business partner to play the game with us because I knew he wouldn't say yes to helping me get the game published. That was the first game we'd ever done as Desks and Dorks, and I knew he wouldn't say yes until he played it and knew it was good. So
God, I love that.
everybody
Because
at
it
the
did.
table lied to him.
This is why, I mean, this is in the notes. I was going to open with this, and here, I don't know. We've been talking for 90 minutes now. The, okay, so Twin Steel produced Gym Rats.
Yes,
For your Rat Jam, what was
yes, Rat
the
Jam. It was Rat
Rat
Jam. Yep,
Jam? Good.
it was Rat Jam.
Yes. He brought it to me. He's like, I made this cool game for Kyle's thing. I was like, dude, you've invented the diciest dice goblin game of all. Like, this is not
Hmm.
a game about rats. This is a game about people who like rolling dice. And
Yeah.
I see that because I've spent a lot of time trying to not have the rolling of the dice be the point of the game and not
Yes.
get in the way of the game. And like, it is the heart of this game. And like, by going so hard in the opposite direction that I've been trying to physically go the whole time, it was
Yes.
like you
Jim
do the
Rats was
yoga pose
brilliant.
and then you do Jim Rat's brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant.
Um, I took that idea and ran with it. I gave him credit for it because then I was whatever. I got sick and I was like, I don't. Do you want to be public? And like we talk about him all the time. Anyway, whatever. I brought that to both of my tables, and it crossed my mind to be like, they're going to see this differently if they. Oh, this is Ryan's game.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna get this un alloyed feedback
Yes.
that I would if it's like, hey, some random person on the internet made this thing. I want to try it. Is it good? I told them it was mine to get them to play it, so we wouldn't play 5e that night
Yeah.
because that's what they wanted to. Um, but yeah, I understand the impulse of like sneaking in.
It Sorry,
Yeah, it makes
I know
sense to me.
I was like breathing a little bit. I was breathing it because I'm like, and so this is maybe another takeaway for GMs and potential first time designers. If you want to ever publish a game, I would highly encourage you to do blind playtesting, which I don't open playtest anymore for any of the stuff that Desks and Dorks makes. I will play it 1 to 3. I will play. And maybe this is bad game design. It might not be. No, I don't think it is actually. I play my games 1 to 3 times
Mm,
with me. And then after that, every bit of playtesting that we take, internal feedback that we take, is done by other people. If you sign up to be a Desks and Dorks playtester, you get a digital copy of the game, but you send me audio of your playthrough or video of your playthrough. And the reason I do that is people are so much nicer when you're around, and you
yes.
miss out on the little visual quirks. Like Lighthouse was a game that we made. I probably should use its proper name. You Have Always Lived in the Lighthouse is a two-player horror adjacent role-playing game by Desks and Dorks, published it. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But
Links below.
one of the things that I liked about Lighthouse though was the sort of go fish mechanic of that back and forth, right? Um, as the game progressed, we kept stripping away mention of go fish in the rules because in the audio of the playtests, every time Go Fish got brought up, there was a little hitch in someone's voice, or someone would go, "Huh, Go Fish, all right, whatever," and
Mm,
they would move on.
mm,
And we
mm,
realized
mm.
at some point the system had moved beyond the Go Fish inspiration, and that the including the original inspiration was not a help to the system; it was a hindrance. Um, and here's the crazy part, right? So you do audio for a Desks and Dorks or video for a Desks and Dorks playtest, and you fill out a Google Sheets questionnaire. What did you like? What did you not like? What stuck out? What was confusing? Did anything like make your experience or negatively impact your experience? Not a single person put the Go Fish reference as a negative, but every person that gave audio of the playtest reacted negatively to it verbally or non-verbally in video when it was brought up in the rules. And so when I removed it and then I went back and I asked some of them, I go, "Hey, we pulled all this Go Fish stuff. What did you think of that?" And they go, "Oh yeah, that sucked. Why was that in there?" And I was like, but it didn't make the Google sheet. I'm telling you, designers, people are so much nicer when you're around, and it never came up when I play tested it with folks. Never. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
it's fascinating. And that goes back to like I don't know what this looks like to another person,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I I know what the I'm looking at 17 iterations of this through time because I've been editing this document forever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're working on. Like my association with Go Fish is so entwined with Lighthouse now that there's no way for me to see how somebody else sees this right now. Where it's just like, oh, that game I played when I was 4, I don't want
Yeah.
to do that
Yep.
anymore. Like, why would I do that? Um, we're like, but no, you don't get it's a metaphor and it's like it's a cool mechanic and we've reclaimed it and it's a lighthouse. Get it? Like
Yeah.
there's water. Like what?
Yeah, we're going fishing. Like there's sea
Yeah,
monsters.
yeah,
Yeah, which is exactly how I designed it. I was like, this is fun,
yeah.
and it's like, no, it's
That's like a
not, dude.
fun.
It's getting in the way.
Yeah, and like yeah, your friend will laugh at your joke even if it's bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I exclusively make bad jokes, so I guess
yeah,
that
yeah,
works.
yeah. That's how you test your friends, I think.
Yeah.
But the it's worked for me so far. But like the day I gave a copy of this to a buddy and he was like sheepish is too strong of a word, but he's like, yeah, we used it. Like we played your thing and like did it. I saw it as like a session zero sort of like it's interestingly enough, there was an early draft of this was called Connections.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, that sounds like a sociology textbook. Don't do that. That can't be the title of the thing. But I was like, how does your character why does your character give a shit about the adventure the DM is bringing? Like, why do
Right.
they care? So it was like a starting point to like leverage into whatever other system. And he's like, yeah, we just kind of like played it the whole time. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we did all these things. I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, I wouldn't have thought that you could do that with that.
Yeah.
Like you broke apart my Legos and built a tower. Sweet, I built Legos. Like that was the goal. Okay, cool. And like just seeing people take the thing and use it in a way you you didn't foresee.
Hmm.
at any level is a part I always find deeply gratifying because
It
it's like,
is.
okay, now you have claimed ownership of this thing. Like this is yours now too.
And ownership is the right word, right? I think the mistake that I see a lot of first time designers make, and even a lot of like dedicated designers, I see this especially with people who have been working on the same game for like a number of years, right?
Mm.
And they're so lost in the forest that they can't see the trees because they're like, I've worked on this game for my whole life, for like 8 years, 6 years, whatever. And that works for some people. It does not work for a lot of folks, or at least it does not work for me because here's the thing, like your players are going to find the game at some point for you. And whatever they resonate with throughout the type of playtesting, whatever that core concept that they find, and I'm not talking every player. I've very I will caution you, I've had it only happen a couple times where I've had a person who playtested in bad faith or was just like not really in it for the right reasons. But I think for the most part, if you build a system and your players are engaged with it honestly and earnestly, they're gonna find the game for you. And don't tell them they're playing it wrong. Like,
Mm.
seriously, like I've seen so many like potentially great games be completely derailed because the designer goes, "Well, that's not my vision." It's like, dude, your vision is means nothing on the altar of fun. Nothing. Like divorce that immediately. Like the idea of a game is to engage people, to make them want to collaborate and coordinate and tell a story and have fun. And maybe if you're lucky, if you're really lucky, and you make something that resonates with folks, maybe they will walk away having learned something about themselves and the other people that they share a table with. Like that, as a game designer, as a game master, is everything that I want. But if you get in the way of what the players are telling you is working, you are cooked before the book is even published. You are cooked before the first dice is rolled if you're a game master rather than a game designer. Like, do not get in the way of people and the fun that they find in your system ever. Like, that is, if you're going to take one thing away from this conversation with me, folks, please. I had a designer like the one of the worst playtests. I won't mention any names. One of the worst playtests I've ever had was with a pretty prominent designer of some other games. And he was like, "Well, what is the purpose of this game?" And I was like, "Oh, you don't get it." And I was like, "Oh." So like when I found out later in the like later on from some industry friends that he was basically being propped up by his collaborators, I got it. I was like, "Oh, people didn't believe it." I'm like, "I believe that immediately." Because if you're like, "What is the purpose?" Like this is the purpose. Like gathering together to have fun is the purpose. Finding that fun together is a purpose. Like that's
And
yeah.
it's, I guess it's sad. The generous part of me finds it sad. The angry nerd in me makes me angry. I'm
Yeah.
just like, because that's the artiste, right? That we were talking about earlier, versus like the craftsman. Like you
Yeah.
built, okay, cool. You made music, but like, don't tell people how to dance. Like, bro, you're making the floor. All right, we're making the dance floor.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
they're gonna make the music, right? Maybe you're providing instruments. Like I don't know, the metaphor's getting away from me, but like there's different kinds of people, and you're only one of them. And I think my greatest gift slash curse is that like I'm kind of two of them, right?
Yeah.
But you're not every kind of player. And you want, maybe you don't, but like I think if you're going to create a successful, I mean, one product, right? If you're trying to like create something, or even two, a piece of art that the most people are going to interact with, you have to cater or at least leave the door open to different kinds of people interacting with it, with you not there, telling them how they're
Hmm.
supposed to experience it. Whatever genre we're talking about, like that goes beyond games, but especially a game. Like, oh, you're having fun? Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's not to say that you can't design with a purpose in mind, right? That's not what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm sure
Right.
that that comment will come up. It's like, well, you can design, you should design with a purpose in mind. I have very blatantly said at some point, like in industry panels or like in conversations, like Desks and Dorks RPGs probably aren't for everybody.
Hmm.
Like, and I'm not interested in making them for everybody because at that point they stop being a personal experience. I'm interested in evoking a very clear theme and a very clear emotion from players and getting you as a player, as a person to consider something specific, right? you can have a purpose and have purpose forward design, but if you ever get in the way of that fun, or if you ever like, what is my purpose? What is the game's purpose? You've lost the plot. Like you have lost the plot entirely. That is, again, folks, like it just like Ryan is saying, right? You build the dance floor. You do not get to dictate how people dance. Now, does that mean you can't build a goth rock club? Of course not.
Right.
But here's the thing: if some dude in black chaps and a black leather vest and a black cowboy hat with Kiss makeup decides that he wants to line dance in goth fashion at your goth club, you got nothing. You built the dance floor, but don't tell people how to dance.
And like that's great once in a while. Like
Yeah,
give me that weird cover in a totally different genre in the middle of your set. Like
yeah,
give me the variety back. Give me the put a little pepper on it for once. Like let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing too. I think like if there's one trait to take away from being a good game master, or a good writer, a good game master, I hopefully, knock on wood, I'd like to think I'm doing a decent job as a publisher. You know, we'll see in a couple of years if Desks and Dorks is doing the trajectory that I would like it to do, and then I'll let you know how I feel about that.
Hmm.
But I think the core thing is just being open to the experience of what a game can bring and what you can bring to that game as the person running it, as the person facilitating it. Um, like, do you make a space to empower your players? Do you give room for the story to breathe and change and grow as your group does? Do you focus on, yes, on the story, but also on the enjoyment of everybody involved? Like, if you do those things, I think you'll be fine, folks. And like, if you're a first time GM, literally just understand everything's going to go to shit, and it's going to be fine. And that's part of the beauty of it. And if I could leave you with some additional piece of advice, the greatest advice that I ever got was from a grizzled band director, Miss Bev. Miss Bev was great. Miss Bev was 65 when I knew her, and every person I'd ever met was like, she's been 65 for like 20 years now. Like we
I
don't, right?
we've all got a Miss Bev in our life, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
chain smoked behind
If
the
we're lucky.
Performing Arts Center. Yeah, exactly. And at one point, she's just like, shh, shh, you know what? If you mess up a line, the audience doesn't know shit. Just play it off like it was the right way the whole time. They'll eat it up. Every time they'll eat it up. Like, thanks, Miss Bev. But it's true. Like, embrace the idea that everything's gonna go to shit, I think is another great takeaway, both historically and embrace and embrace embrace that it's all gonna it's gonna go to shit at some point. Just live with it. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Thug it out.
Buckle up. It always has. So
Yeah.
betting that it never will again is not a safe bet.
Oh man, but I think that's a good, again, that's another good life skill if you're gonna pick something else up as a GM. I think, yeah, that's a good one to have. D&D or any system really.
I'm curious. It's funny. I use D&D as such. This is another conversation I keep having in the last few days. D&D is like Kleenex is like a meme now, but like I do think it's a bigger, broader umbrella, and a lot of the people who get the most butthurt are playing some version of an SRD D&D clone who are
Yeah,
yelling about no, it's not
it's
D&D. It's like,
it's
well, yeah, I mean, it's all
yeah,
D&D to me, man. Like at a
yeah,
certain point, it's medieval faux fantasy. Like I'm
yeah.
here for other systems, but like. Yeah, it's broader than whatever the latest revision of the latest edition of it's
Of
there's
Dungeon Crawl Classics or whatever it is.
yeah, they're
Here,
different breeds.
hold that thought. I'm gonna take this. I'm like, the conversation, folks, is so red hot right now. I am sweating out this sweatshirt. Like,
I'm
we
doing my
have
job.
raised the temperature by like 10 degrees already. That's called showbiz, baby.
Woo, we're cooking.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, and I think you're in a very good position to weigh in on it.
Okay.
I believe there's definitely a difference between a game designer and a game master.
Yes.
However,
100%.
I think the boundary there, I think there's overlap in that Venn diagram. I think to a degree, every game master at least is eventually flirting with game design. And then it's
Yes.
just a question of degree, I think. But would you agree with that, or is
Yeah.
that full of shit?
No, I 100% do. I think,
Okay.
and I would even go maybe extrapolate one step further. I think that like being at some point, like being a game master is being a game designer because like you're making a
Mm,
dungeon. If you make a dungeon, you make a custom monster, you make a homebrew item, and make a unique NPC ability. Congrats, you're one of us now. Like
got him.
that doesn't take a lot to be one. It's
Wait,
not.
don't tell
Yeah.
him.
Oh shit. If they find out we can shapeshift, they'll tell the church. Like
Okay,
no,
validating.
I think that's a good no, I think that's a good that's a good way of looking at it though. Is like I think they're not mutually exclusive, but they're also not mutually inclusive, right? Like, and I know plenty of really
Mhm.
good game masters. One of our dedicated playtesters, actually. Shout out to my boy Matt Ogg. He's getting married. Woo!
Ooh,
But
congrats.
Matt, yeah, Matt's the goat. Matt, we love Matt. But Matt is a phenomenal GM. Has been for a number of years. Plays a lot of Pathfinder Second Edition. And like has been playing basically like 1 to 2 sessions a month for the last like 7 years that I've known him without fail. Like the man is a scheduling house. And at one point, and he is so smart. Like when he plays games, like it's incredible, and I love him as a playtester because he just breaks my shit. He just break. But at one point, I was like, dude, like you could. He does like, and
That's
you.
guys. Okay, everybody,
Yeah.
players of games.
Yes.
If you're actively are like, I'm going to try to break the game, and the brain exists in the sweating forehead of your dungeon master, like that's not too fair. But like, I want you to stress test my toys. I want like you could
Yeah.
break. It's got a lot more give to it than you think. Break the
Yeah.
thing and I'll learn something.
Yeah.
There's a nice
Play.
way to do it.
Yeah, play it the way it's intended to be played, insofar as I need you to for the data. After that point, mess this bitch up. Like, cause
Drive it like you stole it.
drive it like you stole it, exactly. And Matt drives it like he crawled out of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. Just in a definitely not street legal Toyota with like light up rims. Like but I love it because we had the conversation like Matt, dude, you would make an incredible game designer, and I'll never forget. He looked around and he goes, Absa effing lutely not. And he's never sworn in front of me in his life. He was like, no,
Huh.
absolutely not. He goes, I have no interest in doing what you do ever. Like, and you will meet some of those people.
That's so interesting to me. And it's funny. So Pathfinder 2e is one of the games that I did the least to system wise, right? Because it's so finely tuned that like you break something over here
Yeah.
on the other side of the system, some spring pops
Yes,
because it's just like a Italian sports car of a system where it's
it
just like
is.
it's just like I'm not gonna let you. I want to let you do that, but I'm not going to because I'm gonna regret it because there's some weird interaction that I don't know about yet because I haven't memorized 1,000 tags and feats and
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. No, but I like that question though. That's a good one. This is the part of like a conversation that I love is like I haven't thought about these questions in a while, or like
Mm.
I don't know, I like what other game designers and game masters burning questions are so fun for me. Like because like I know what my burning questions are, but I live in my own head. I don't want to be here all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing some space and let me air my head out.
Please. It gets boring sometimes. It gets kind of stale a little bit in here. I'm not gonna lie.
That's what's up. I mean, that's part of the reason that's definitely why I started, and that's why it's well, 1,000% why I keep doing it. Because
Yeah.
like the community aspect, we're all here to have a good time and we work for that, and sometimes the work gets in the way of the good fun that we're trying to create here for other people.
I cannot tell you the last time I sat down and no, I can. It was like December was probably the last time I actually got to sit down and play a game
Wow.
of
Wow.
of anything. And before that, it was probably another 3 to 6 month drought. Um, if I don't count Desks and Dorks games, that drought gets a little bit longer, which is
Were,
like
were you on the clock when you were playing the game?
yeah, like that's exactly it. Like that's I find that that's like when I do most of my playing now, which is just like it's not like yeah, it's not a healthy system. Like I think you're right. Like at some point the work gets in the way of the work.
It does. I mean, I experienced it on a smaller scale with like the YouTube channel. Like there was a point where I made some choices where it's like either everything I do is for to be consumed by an audience or to feed the machine that feeds the audience, or I don't burn out in a year or
Yeah.
two. I get to keep doing this for a long time and preserve my sanity and my marriage, you know, or whatever. um,
It's so
okay.
interesting you say that because I had a very similar gut check moment with myself recently. Um, because I'm like, and we'll talk turkey for a second. Like I again have said it a couple times already, but like I don't play D&D anymore. I don't find the system doesn't do the things that I want it to do, right? Me
Mhm.
personally, as a game master, as a player, and I don't make D&D supplements. Um, I think with our, I don't think I know with our reach and our subscriber base and the experience I have with Kickstarters, if I made a D&D supplement, I would triple what I make, I think.
Yeah.
And I've had that moment where it's like, but is that, am I going to want to make D&D supplements for the rest of my life? And
Hmm.
the answer is, for me personally, was I would rather walk in traffic. Like it will burn me out. Like I think a lot of creatives and a lot of people in business too, I think make the mistake of um, getting the most in the short term does not always mean it's the best investment. Um,
Oh, God. I mean, that's at the root of a lot of problems, right?
yeah,
I'm only worried about this quarter. I need this
right,
quarter to be bigger than the last one. I don't care what happens the next quarter. That's future guy's problem.
right. The only thing that grows infinitely is cancer. So I like what are we doing, right? But like I had that moment where it's like I could make some D&D games. And I know, and here's the thing, like I know me and I know my team, we would not make a bad D&D supplement. We would crush it. We would make the coolest, and I'd find a way to make it work. I'd tie my love of history into it, but in the back of my mind I'd be like, this isn't what I want to be doing. This
Yeah.
isn't a system that I worked on that I'm inspired to do. So it's like I could make 3 really great years, or I could have 15 good ones. Um, and I think those 15 good ones are probably worth more monetarily. Like, and again, I'm a business. Like,
Mm.
I have to, people are like, why do you do this? And I'm always like, I do this to make money. I don't think that makes me a bad person. I was like, I tell you, I'm like, I'll be straight up. Like, people are like, you mean you run a community and you make all this content to make money? I'm like, yes. Like, I have a vested financial interest in the Desks and Dorks YouTube channel succeeding. Our game sales, like, I mean, sextupled when the videos started blowing up.
Mm.
I went from moving I kid you not, we went from moving like no PDFs on itch. Then when the channel blew up, we were moving like 2 to 4 a week. Now, again, 2 to 4 weeks, not a lot. That's not like I'm not gonna be buying a castle in the Alps, but like that's grocery money, baby. That's gas money, baby. Like you gotta like you make these decisions for a reason. But I think also too, like you can run a business and also recognize that you have things that you need to do for yourself to keep yourself whole, to keep your community whole, so that you don't do what a lot of game companies right now are doing and killing the golden goose um, for want of extra eggs this month.
Yes, yes, and I think setting aside the mega corporate level for a second,
Sure.
down here in the dirt where the little guys are scrapping. If yeah, you need money to live.
Yeah.
You critique capitalism and let you exist with inside of it. Like yeah, yes, I
Yeah.
do. I have to. I
Yeah.
don't
You have
want
to. Yeah.
to
We have no
starve
other
to death.
option.
Yes, that's the deal here. If the highest moral goal was to profit, then we wouldn't be making little indie games. There's better ways to make money
I would
that
have gotten
are
into contract law or something. Like,
yeah, right. Like I need the money. It's part of the equation, and like it's an important part of the equation, and I'm
yeah.
tired of pretending it's not. However, if it was the only thing I give a shit about, I would not be here today.
Yeah.
Know that, yeah. I think a lot of people get it twisted. Okay, I've already established the intimidation factor. I'm not even going to do the fake show business ending. This is a long one. If you haven't realized it, it's already long, folks. I want you to break my game. I want you to
Okay.
experience one this little because yeah, there's the history background. So this is system agnostic,
Okay.
but easily folds into 5e because I want people to use my things. The core concept is we're building a character on the one page, we're turning the page, we're building an adventure around that character.
Oh, I love it.
Medieval
Sweet.
faux fantasy
Yeah,
overtones.
this is the kind of low prep stuff that we love. All right. Great.
Boom, boom, boom.
All right.
So phase one.
Already sold on the core concept. All right, let's zoom this bad boy.
So I'm going
Okay.
to ask you to select an archetype that leaps off the page at you, or you can roll a D100.
Well, I mean, I think I cannot, in good conscience, espouse the values of adaptability and
Mm.
accepting that you cannot change certain things and not
It is all random
just
tables. So
roll.
the
Fuck
dice are going to
yes.
make every other decision for you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. The way God intended. All right. We have an 80 for the first one.
80 prisoner.
And we have an 8 for my second. So an 87 to 88. I am a soldier. I
Oh,
had
I
to roll
see
this.
what
I
you
had to
did
roll the
there.
same
I
dice
see what you
twice.
did there.
Yes, I
I
only
thought you
had
were
one. I
rolling.
only had one D. I only have one D10, folks. So it's only this little dragon dice right here. So I had to roll the first one for
I
the tens and
okay.
this. I am a soldier. That is what we have decided. So
Final answer. Okay, cool. Because I'm
yep.
also willing to give you
No.
prisoner or
Nope.
archivist
I
because
am
that was what
so.
my brain did.
I am
Soldier.
soldier. So I have accepted that that is my lot in life.
Okay.
Some men
Space
get to sit
permitting.
back, but not for me.
And again, this is like you were a soldier and may still be, and definitely
Oh,
like it shapes you
excellent.
and informs you. But this is like your background, right?
Drives,
Your
dreams, and aspirations. Baby. All right. Where does
I'm
my
gonna ask you to
soldier?
roll a fistful of dice for me because
Oh,
it's way more fun.
a fistful.
4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20.
Oh my God. Yes. All right. Let's
That's my
go.
favorite. That's
All right.
my that's my magnum opus right there. That
That's it. All right. 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 Let's
I have a lot
do.
of self-doubt. I never doubted that for a minute. I was like,
Okay.
that's the thing.
I wish to take fate into my hands more. So my D20 roll was a 9.
Take fate into their own hands. Yeah. I mean, that's
Okay.
perfect for yeah.
I, I,
You've been
I love it.
bossed around.
Love it. Or perhaps maybe I've seen too much, survived too much. Very Balian from Kingdom of Heaven esque.
That's interesting. Yeah, because the fates have decided
Well, it's the
when
that's
if you live or die for so many
well,
instances,
and
and
it's
now it's
also
like
that speech where it's like a man may move a king, or a man may command, or a man may move a son, a king may command, but it's until what is it? You have to. It is when a man realizes he can move himself that the game begins. That speech from King Baldwin in Kingdom of Heaven, one of the best speeches you can enjoy. D12 Catalyst calls to venture orders that came from the upper echelons. Very interesting. That's fitting. All right, it's my D12. So already I want to take fate into my hands, but I've got these orders. Maybe the orders are what has caused me to break. We'll find out. What's my D8 giving me? Potential growth and character arcs. I am seeking a glorious death to seeking a good life. So glory of some kind.
the masculine urge to
The masculine urge to farm, baby.
to bleed out.
Vinland Saga. I don't know if I don't know if anyone are you an anime fan at all, Ryan? Do you enjoy
Very like
the
I
fine
have
Chinese
I
cartoon?
enjoy a lot of anime, but I am it's the kind of like fandom where like I've only really enjoyed and watched thoroughly like 4 shows. So I
Yeah.
feel like the answer is no, but
Okay.
like
No, I would Vinland Saga is great, but like Vinland Saga, the first season is the kind of blood death, masculine urge to die in a
mm,
battlement that
mm,
like
mm.
cranked to 11, and the second season is just farming. And somehow, I kid you, and it's not a spoiler. People jokingly refer to it as Farmland Saga in the second season. Somehow, the second season goes way harder. It's way more impactful.
You have piqued my interest,
The
sir.
guy goes from wanting a glorious death to realizing that maybe the glory was the real friends we made along the way and turnips, and it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable journey. All right, let's do my five for
I'm
six.
psyched.
Fletcher Ives makes fine arrows. Ah, excellent flaming arrows. A pure Hollywood invention. By the way, for those who are enjoying
Yeah,
enjoying
how does that work?
doesn't at all.
Yeah. Your bow's
There's
also flammable, and then there's physics
yep.
to contend with.
Yep. There they we have evidence of flaming projectiles used a few times in antiquity and only to frighten elephants or cavalry. And even then it was ineffective or possibly apocryphal.
Didn't
So,
the Greeks, maybe it's a story, and I bet it was like more fireworks than actually, I think it was for intimidation, not like
yep.
tactical use, but didn't they have like a flamethrower sort of
Greek
thing?
fire is what you're referring
Yeah.
to, which is weirdly enough Not the Greeks, the Byzantines made
Well,
that. It is essentially a lovely
it's in the neighborhood of that peninsula, right? Like,
it is. It listen, they thought they were Greek and also Roman and also Crusaders. So, you know what? In fairness to you, the Byzantines were like, we're whatever we want to be, which, money, wealth, and a really well defended fortress on the world's greatest trade straits will probably give you that level of confidence. Um,
and
but
now we
I,
use it as a word for something that's very complex and confusing, and you can't sort out.
yeah, that, yeah, gee, gosh, golly willikers, I wonder why. I don't know if the Byzantines could sort themselves out. But yeah, it was a napalm launcher, like used in naval battles, which is crazy work. I just imagine you're like rolling up and you get napalmed. Like that's
Yeah,
nuts.
you get a pointy stick.
I just love the idea that like some Byzantine somewhere is blaring "Fortunate Son" like on their cat. Bow now, bow
Oh, I
now.
love the smell of Byzantine fire in the
I
morning.
love, I love the smell of Corsairs burning in the morning. All right. On that note, by 1d4 friendly factions, the Old Lions, a social club for retired. Oh, that fits very well. Got my Old Lions, and I did not roll a d10 because I had it off to the side because it had served as my d100. So let's see what my item or object would be. A two, a bivy sack. Sleeps one. Ooh, so my guy is a dude with a sleeping bag. Yes.
The
Yes.
D10 is the only one where big
Uh,
number good.
big number, good. Low. Listen, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Give me my sleeping bag. The fact that I am a tired mercenary who wants to take life into his own hands, whose only friends are other retired mercenaries, whose only lasting possession is a sleeping bag, has I yes, this character is very tired.
Vibes. Okay, what do we know about this guy? Where are you seeing him going before we switch hats? This is like the
Um
player centric model
no
right
no
now.
so I think the big thing for my character is I'm imagining this is a career soldier because there were no other options.
Hmm.
I think that that's very fitting for our conversation that we've had throughout the night. And I think as great as the masculine urge to die, a la Blade Runner is, I think this guy just wants out. Um, and I think that's the desire to take fate into his own hands is a desire to live the kind of simple life that he chooses.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that sleeping bag is a reflection of that desire. It would be nice to choose where home is. It's if
I'm
the simple
getting I'm getting seven different CCR songs, right?
yep yep
A fortunate song was an anchor there, but
yep. But if the idea is home is where I lay my head and
hmm,
orders are what force me away from there, then I think that that's a wonderful little metaphor. I think for my sleeping bag. So
that's really beautiful. And I like the idea of like set out to the glorious battle and then we learned what it looks like firsthand and
yeah,
survived and was like, oh, I no longer bleeding out in a field, holding your guts in your hands is not a good way
yeah.
to go.
I think we've seen too many glorious battles. I think for this
Hmm,
character at this point, I think he is.
hmm.
I think uh, a glorious battle. I think is over. I think he would like to see a glorious breakfast, maybe in a place that he can call his own for more than a few days at a time.
God, I love the grizzled veteran character. Even like level one walking into the dungeon, it's like, can I have a +1 magic sword? It's like, can I have 12 flasks of oil and a dog? Like
Yeah,
that's the guy I
yeah.
want walking into the dungeon next to me. Like
Kiddo, if you're asking for a +1 sword, what you should be asking for is 60 feet of good rope and some pythons. Trust me, we can do a lot of damage.
Let me show you how we did it back in my day, Sonny.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh
Um, okay, cool. Anything you want to add to this little sketch of a character before we switch hats to
no,
the
I think this is a good place. I don't want to have too much of a sketch. I think.
I like it. And that's
I
kind of like the level of resolution I was going for. I don't want
good.
to dictate
Yeah.
things so much as like
No,
plant ideas for you.
I think we are navigating by vibe. So that is good.
All right, I'm gonna ask you to roll 4d6 or just roll a d6 and we'll do it 4 times over. But this is like the world buildy little box of Legos for the game master.
Love it. And so for those of you at home, I am taking notes. This is if you want to be a good playtester, and break people's games, take some notes. That's a good call. Mark things that you like, mark things that you didn't, mark things that stood out to you. I always have paper with me, several pens.
Yeah,
You
any
got
game that you're playing, take notes, write shit down, guys.
Well, listen, if
Will only
you're
help
like
you.
if you're somebody wants you to play a game, the least you can do is sketch some good notes. So, I have to roll this 4 times, correct?
Yeah, we
And
can do it
that
one at a time if you don't have 4d6 or 40. A
I
d6 is
have I
a
have I have just one d6, but we add up the total, correct? Am I or no? Is it
no,
we roll
it's
4 times? Fantastic. Okay, the first one is
4d6
three.
totals.
So three, supposedly it took a whole battalion to defeat the dragon. For neither they nor it have been seen since they marched. Fantastic. Okay, we got some dragon boys. Um, Oh no, I'm looking at the other thing. Sorry. Antagonistic organizations. That's what I'm looking at. All right. Well, the dragon thing would have been cool, but
I'll
that's
take the
okay.
dragon.
No,
Where'd
no,
you go with the
no, no.
dragon thing?
I'm zoomed in to read, and so when
Ah,
I flipped the page, it it moved me to the plot hooks.
sorry,
So
I
no, no,
moved
no.
I
It's
moved the
absolutely
rug
okay.
out.
So let's no, no,
I
no.
built the
It's all
dance
good.
floor and then I
No, no, no.
pulled it
It's
out
all
from under
good.
you.
It turns out the dance floor was a laser tag arena the whole time.
Oh,
That would
now
be
you're talking.
sweet, actually. All right, let's just take the three that I rolled and let's do antagonistic organizations. Old guard have an idealized nostalgia for a military dictatorship. Oh my God! All right, sure.
Sorry,
No,
sorry,
no, no.
trigger
I like
warning.
that. Apparently, because that fits my story. So I am friends with one veteran organization, and I am the sworn enemy of another veteran organization. So I'm envisioning this is like I am trying to escape the military-industrial complex. Um, let's do evocative locations next. We got two fogs of war, hot and cold rivers merge here. Ooh, blanking this border region in obscuring mists, which is great. Probably could make very creative use of a sleeping bag potentially. Such a
Mm-hmm.
place. Who knew? Uh, Rivals and enemies. Well, I already don't. All right. What did I get? A four. Bucky, a lovable scamp who admires the party and won't stop following them into danger. Fantastic. Because in my mind, our good friend Bucky is not an admirer of the party, but is the kind of young recruit soldier that is chasing the kind of glory that I have perhaps learned is no longer the case. Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. All right, let's do 6. Warlord for my thematic monster recruits variety of monsters. Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. So we're full sending the idea that I am basically medieval Rambo. But like first blood, not first blood Rambo, like first Rambo.
Yeah.
I am PTSD riddled Rambo. Or at the very least, or like Equalizer Denzel Washington. Um or conversely, Denzel Washington's Macbeth too. It's a fantastic, what a fantastic turn as Macbeth. Good God, the man. All right, let's do a D20 and do the proper dice for this. Plot hooks, adventure ideas, that kind of thing. 18. The tunnel network beneath the mountain was overrun long ago, but securing it would provide a huge advantage. Ooh, I have an interesting take, I think, on this one too. So,
You hit me.
I think if we're, continuing with this sort of there is no greater lie than this to die for one's country,
Mm.
um, kind of vibe, I would love the idea that this is kind of like Middle Earth World War One. This is high fantasy trench warfare. Because
Hey
one of
man,
the
I mean
thing,
that's where it started. That's where
you
it
know,
came from.
listen, and so here's the thing: it's like how many of those trenches were quote unquote essential, only to find out that you sacrificed hundreds, if not thousands, of lives for 2 feet of ground that didn't matter. So I love the idea that this tunnel network might not even be usable by the time that our adventure is done. And if it is usable, it might not even matter. So,
I love that.
yep.
Yeah, because securing it would prove a huge advantage, so they'd say,
Yeah.
or like there's different ways to gain an advantage, right? Us securing it means that they're going to divert their forces to deal with that, so we can be over here, and ultimately it's just meaningless.
Yes.
because I do love kind of like embracing and messing with the idea of like one, I'm like one day from retirement. That's always a fun meme. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
I was
getting
gonna
too old for
retire
this
the
shit.
next day. Riggs. Like wonder.
But two,
Uh,
like this sucks. What's in it for me?
yeah.
Like, the flimsiest version of an evil protagonist of just
Yes.
like, it does suck. What's in it? Like, what are you gonna do about it? Like,
Yeah.
you got to do it. You're in this adventure. What are we
It's
doing?
yeah. All right, hold that thought, Ryan. I am going to go use a bio break, and then
All
because I want to be yeah, we'll time out. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the rest of this goes. I'm pumped.
right.
I have returned, refreshed, and ready
Sweet.
for more. Have retrieved another drink so that I am sufficiently hydrated and I am prepared.
Dope. Well, that is that's the whole nut right there
Oh,
of the
cool.
thing. It's
Okay.
like here's a
Is
character, here's
there
a game. It's on a system in and of itself.
sweet? So the table doesn't extend beyond this then.
No, I like next page, new archetype.
Cool.
So the idea is like you're running a D&D Shadow Dark DCC insert fantasy role-playing
Sure.
game. How can I make a character that's interesting
Yeah, this is sweet. No,
with
this
with
is
bullet points, not pages of
yeah,
backstory?
this is dope. Like this is fantastic. Like so, yeah. So another good thing potentially for our viewers, when you are helping someone play test a game, the best thing you can ask is what kind of feedback are you looking for?
hmm
So what kind of
well,
feedback are you looking for, Ryan?
hit me. One, tell me if did it generate ideas? Because
Yeah, this was gas.
that is the purpose. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it's fuel. I mean,
Yes.
that's
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
No, I
the.
mean gas like this rocked. Like
Oh,
I
okay,
can
cool.
see why your players sat there and just made characters all night.
And then just they
Bro,
played out
I
the
would have
story.
done the same thing,
Uh,
which I think is like the
you
highest
the fact that
compliment.
you were ready to, I was like, oh, man, I felt my game master brain turned on
Yeah.
more than my like. I was like, oh, a success, but also like, ah, man, like
Oh no,
maybe
no,
I will
like
just run him through something right
I
now.
was super hopeful that like there was just more. Like it would be so cool, I think. Well, so okay, so I think in terms of what you're going for, I think
Mhm,
you have achieved the core conceit of what you wanted, right? Which is how do I generate an organic character that gets the wheel spinning, makes ideas that are compelling, and makes you feel like you want to do it. Like, and again, like I am probably the target audience for this, I think. But
Well, interesting. I'm going to go back to the big screen actually because
yeah,
I don't need the art here. Well, you were on record publicly being like, I don't like D&D anymore, and I don't play games like it.
but
Um,
I would not use this for D&D. I would play this for
well,
Flayo. I
that's
would
yes.
or I would use this for Shadow of the Demon Lord. It's a fantastic system. If you've ever, I don't know if you've played Shadow of the Demon Lord or not. It is
Familiar with it because I've read through it, but
really
I'm very
good.
careful. I've played a bunch of games, but there's a lot of games that I
Yep.
don't feel right having opinions on as a talking head on the internet with some faux veneer of authority. Be like, no, I
Yeah.
actually haven't played it a bunch of times for me to have an opinion
I
that's
haven't played
worth.
a bunch of times either, but I've read it enough times where I'm like, I love this.
It's cool.
Yeah,
There's
like
some
it's
cool
like I
shit in
love
there.
this, man.
Yeah.
Um, so I get like, but again, like I'm the target audience for this because like I love this style of character creation. So
Ah,
I would so actually for I do have some feedback because I think so
yeah.
in general I think the whole thing works beautifully. Um, I 1,000% think your players are right. Not to get in the way of not to make you want to get in the way of the fun of the people playing it. I think the game is making characters. I would like I
Mm,
would maybe put this into my own games, but I think for me like this would be just fun to just do characters all night.
mm.
And there probably is um actually there is a game like this that exists
Ooh,
already
okay.
and was very successful.
Do. Oop, I'm gonna get copyright claimed again.
So this is the advantage of having several thousand board games at your house at any given moment. But like this is Call to Adventure. Which I don't know why my screen is blurry. Please don't blur the background.
All
There we
right.
go.
Sometimes you put your hand. Yeah,
There we go. This is Call to Adventure. The whole point of this board game is making a character.
I need that now.
You do. It's fantastic. But like the way that it works is you complete challenges by casting runes, which are you're rolling dice, and you're telling a story with the character. So like maybe you meet a princess. Maybe you became very studious in your work. And it all culminates at the end with you like doing something crazy heroic. Like, did you win the queen's favor or did you unseat the queen? Who knows, right? But the whole point of the game is making these characters.
Hmm.
And you've essentially made the role playing game equivalent of that. So my first question as a publisher is there a game to be made that is its own thing that is just making the character?
Hmm.
And is that like already I could think of a bunch of ways to extrapolate that, right? Like, is this a game where you make one character and that character moves on and you record the legacy of that character, and then the legacy of that character informs the next character that you make? And maybe your character sheet is the ledger of all the legacy of these heroes throughout time, right? The relationship between them, father and daughter. Daughter then becomes mentor to another character. Mentor then raises, starts an academy. So now it's mentor and student, and then it's student and son, and son and son and son, and then son and daughter and granddaughter. Like you could make a really cool thing with this. I will say the two things that I could be potential takeaways.
Yeah, hit me.
I don't love that the weapons get better the higher you roll for those. Um,
Interesting.
I
And
think
that's the only one place where number matters.
right.
Why?
And well, here's the thing. I think this is a great storytelling game and a great storytelling exercise. I want no numeric benefit tagged to it
Um,
because I think what you're looking for is for a player to do. And again, I could be off base, right? This goes back to what is your purpose in designing this, right? I could be off base, but I think your purpose is how do I get the player to think critically and creatively about the kind of character they're making? And a +1 axe of cleaving, who gives a shit? I love that sleeping bag way more than I will ever love that +1 axe of cleaving. I'll be honest, I would punt that axe into the woods. I'm gonna wear that. I'm gonna do like in my brain, I'm thinking about like like I learned about Vietnam veterans and how they would carry sleeping bags and ponchos, but they would wear them like cloaks because it was
mhm,
one less thing to carry and it protected you from the rain. Like
mhm.
that's like my guy is like, what's your cloak? It's not a cloak. Where did you get your cloak, sir? Oh, I love it. It's my sleeping bag.
It's my bivy sack.
like, like
Why
uh,
carry two things when one thing better?
right, why carry two things when one thing better and now hands free to fight? Shout out to potions being terrible again. like like have you played Heart at all by Rowan Rook and Deckard?
Oh
um
God. So that's again, I'm gonna say no, I haven't played it,
okay
but like, oh, did
uh,
I lovingly pore over the pages of it?
yeah
Did I
the
covet it on my on my brick and mortar's shelf for like 6 months? I was like, I'm doing it. I'm getting it.
yeah
Oh
yeah
yeah.
oh I insta bought it when I went over the first time knowing nothing about the system. But one of the things that really impressed me about it was you start with these weapons, and these weapons have a legacy, a history to behind them, sometimes sorted, sometimes not. Like one of the things you can carry as a null player is like um a bloodstained dagger that you won in a poker match.
Mm.
It has no gameplay impact at all. I don't like, and you can give us little gameplay impact, but I would much more prefer um the addition of those little snippets, the dark loric, the Dark Souls esque. That's what I meant to say. Lore snippets on these items that force the player to be like, "What does this mean to me?" rather than "What bonus does this provide?" Um,
It's it's interesting. So I think it's for I think it's actually good for me to get the best possible feedback from you, which I super value because you are in a great position to provide it. I, perhaps foolishly, set out to design that again, like a toolbox again.
yeah,
Like I want you to carry this book with you in the
yep,
backpack next to the other game that you're playing.
sure,
And like probably from a product standpoint, it would have been smarter to like here's everything you need to play to like
sure,
here's a full game and like maybe there's another version of that because like the
Yeah,
you got my wheel spinning now with like the legacy and the inheritance and the relationships and like oh man, the generations of it all. Um, but here's a bunch of random roll tables, and built in is my acknowledgement that like you can just pick things.
sure.
Like you might not roll dice. You have my permission to like fudge or
Yeah,
select or be like, I rolled a six. I like seven better.
yeah,
Rolling dice taught me that seven was the one I want, so I had this
sure,
is
sure,
yeah.
sure, sure. I will say though too. Here's my other thing. As a publisher,
Yeah.
the business side of my brain kicks in and goes, if you turn off any reference to D&D, it becomes truly system and setting agnostic. Like you can sell whatever. And I'm not saying that the acts of cleaving was D&D referential. I don't think it was, to be honest. Like I think that
Well,
was
this
pretty.
this was a very
Yeah,
carefully this is a product that was started and then completed in the
right.
age of the OGL bullshit. So like
Sure,
it's
sure, sure,
very
sure.
careful. It's very specifically not.
Well, right, but like
But
imagine if I want to bring that system into a game that doesn't have rolling at all. I would love
right.
to make this a system like this system would work great with one of my favorite role-playing games, Fiasco. I have played
Mm.
Fiasco so many times, and there's no dice rolling in Fiasco. But if I wanted to play a fantasy version of Fiasco and bake this into character creation, because I do like the way that Fiasco does character creation, but this would fit in beautifully, I think, with that relationship system. I no longer have to worry about those dice. If you want true system and setting agnostic, and again, maybe like you can, you run into that thing of like, well, then you're just paying for ideas. But like that, that is, I mean, that's all that we're doing, right? Is selling ideas, right?
It's mostly what I buy.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
don't
exactly. Yeah, exactly, right.
know.
My it's ideas bound up in glossy pages with pretty pictures.
Yeah.
The other one, the other, and again, these were not even like bad things necessarily. They were just suggestions. That was the one I had was I was like, man, I really want more. I really want more like not less stat, more character is the wrong word for it because I think the book oozes character so much already. That is my highest compliment to you. I think is that that whole process oozed character for me. Like that was
Mm,
great.
mm.
I did not have to work to find that individual I wanted to play as. Um, but so other than that, the one thing I was thinking is for that finale section, right, that D20, I kind of did this on my own, where I added that emotion to that location, that locale, that last moment. And you could make it even an optional thing, but I would love for you to, in the rules, maybe encourage somebody to flip that location or that finale, that climax and add something of themselves to it, I think would be a good call, right? Like whether that's a single word moniker, like an adjective like pointless, would be probably what I would have added to that tunnel system. But if you're like, oh man, like if like let's go back to the example of the dragon and the mercenary company that neither of which came back. Um, if I had rolled joy or something on this theoretical last table, me as a player, what does that look like? And like it joy because the dragon's dead, joy because maybe the mercenaries were scumbags, or is it joy because the mercenaries and the dragon realized they had way more in common and now they're just big chilling in the mountains together, realizing that we had way more in common than we thought and now we're homies.
So what I'm hearing is you want more tables. You want
I want one final table. I want
you want
one
one final
or
table of like a
one
spark, like a
final, yeah, one final D4 table. Give me four emotions and make it
yeah,
optional if
interesting.
you truly want to. But like give the players or encourage the players to tie a feeling or an emotion or a concept into that last climax. The way that you and I did. Because I think what you'll get from that is not just additional replay value, which is always good as a publisher. Hell
Mm.
yeah, replay value. Hell yeah. But I think what you'll get too is more buy-in from those players who are now going to build an emotional attachment and are I think or maybe are more likely to play that story out. Like if I'm like, oh man, another battle between dragons and mercenaries. Oh boy, that's our vanilla ice cream. But if I get dragons and mercenaries have actually secretly teamed up because they realize that they're all just in it for the money together and the guy that keeps hiring mercenaries to kill the dragon has more money than either the mercenaries or the dragon could spend in 1,000 lifetimes. Now we're talking that good vanilla ice cream where I'm like, oh shit, that's a story I might want to play. And to make it optional, right? Maybe not, and not every player might want to engage with that system, but I think there's something to be said about crafting a system that leaves that space open to explore. Would be my, I guess, my last takeaway.
Yeah, no, super dig it. It's funny. I'm like afraid this is the artiste inside of me coming out, but it's like yeah, the whole thing is designed to make that happen in you, right? Like by the
Yes.
time you get to that, you've gathered all this wool and created some sort of like resonant frequency already that attaches to that D20, but like yeah,
Yep.
making that explicit is not bad in any way.
Well,
It's like
and also
hitting
too, sorry, no, finish your thought. My apologies.
no, go. Go.
I have a bad habit of like I really try hard not to like cut people off. I get when I get excited like this, I immediately am just like, oh, I just want to keep firing off, and I apologize. Um,
And there's
I
a
I
delay and there's the body
yeah, I know.
in this medium
Again,
it's particularly
I
hard.
apologize for not for not giving you that space because I really want to make sure that like I get you get the chat to like talk, man, because that's what I want, man. But the one thing the other thing I'm thinking of, again, this is the publisher brain, is what kind of customer is going to pick this up, and the artiste in your brain is probably like, yes, hell yeah, like I'm gonna get some people who are like invested role players into this, and they're going to be the ones pouring their emotions and their understanding and ideas into this concept. As a publisher, my first thought is this product is perfect for beginners, and a beginner might not have the bandwidth or the understanding and know-how to do that. But man, if you push them into that space, I think that's one more selling point. This is probably like, having played it with you, it's a product I would buy. But like thinking about where I was when I began my role playing game journey, which really began like again at that public library,
Mm.
or like the Christmas where my mom saved every coupon for Walden Books. There's a throwback for all y'all. Walden Books. Y'all remember bookstores in malls? Y'all remember malls? Um, but like when she saved up all these coupons and gift cards and bought me like 300 $400 worth of D&D stuff for like $100 in Walden
Nice.
gift cards because we didn't have any money. But like that Christmas, that I balled out. That product would have been the product that she would have been like, oh, new character creation stuff. And it would have been the product that, as a new beginning player, I would have beat that book to shit, dude. That book, the cover. Oh my god, you should have seen some of the early DM's guides with the tables and stuff, dude. I would have beat that book to death. The corner is dinged, jagged, pages ripped, stained, done. Like, but I think that's the kind of vibe you're going for. Again, this is the publisher side of me that's like
No,
business
dude,
numbers.
I understand it's like it's awkward to deliver stuff like this too, and like whatever. We're best buds now, but we also just
Yeah,
met.
yeah,
But like, yeah,
those.
initial concept was just that. Like, hey, new player, you want to make a cool character that your dungeon master can pick up and run with, and not a novel that they're going to be upset being delivered. And hey, dungeon master, how do you get your player to give a shit about this world that you built or this adventure that you're running? Make them intertwined in interesting open-ended ways. So that was that's where we started.
Yeah.
I don't know. The fact that you're seeing it means it's still there.
Yeah. No,
But I gotta like,
this is great. Like this is, and again, I am table loving trash.
welcome to the Burgundy table, man. That's
Yeah.
it's a double entendre, but the one is because tables. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like them.
That's why I like Shadow of the Demon Lord. It's like 900 tables in that book. I'm like, oh, I get tables for diseases and insanity. Let's go.
I'm telling you, that's a lot of my money goes to buying ideas.
Yep. Uh,
Oh shit. All right. Kyle, thank you. This has been a blast.
yeah.
We gotta I gotta land the plane at some point, or else I'm gonna run out of gas.
No, listen, I
But
mean, yeah, we can Bermuda Triangle it. The plane can
well,
disappear.
I could. That's why I'm intervening because like like I see the potential there. Um everybody, if you're not already completely invested in checking out everything this fine gentleman has produced, go do that. generous enough to provide a discount.
Yeah,
Um,
I did it right now, actually, as we were recording. It's $5 as of this moment.
did you do it?
I did. I absolutely did. I absolutely did. I did it as we were recording. I am nothing if not a man of my word. So yeah, if
Incredible.
you want to check out After the Rain for a very low price of $5, for the price of less than a McDonald's sandwich, you can get yourself a great role play. Yeah, I know, right?
That's
Uh,
depressing, but true. Yeah. Well, it's
it,
probably good. I don't eat
yeah.
McDonald's sandwiches.
Listen, I love McDonald's. It breaks my heart that they're an enemy of the proletariat now. It's like I made that joke with a bunch of my friends who work construction because they're just like the number of construction workers I know that have been sustained by two McChickens and a Monster on their lunch break. And that a lunch that used to cost $3.50 and now is like
Yeah.
$7. Like
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. But yeah, that's there. Again, you can check out the YouTube. If you are so inclined and you like historically themed role-playing game content, there is a Patreon as well. If you would like a unique role-playing game that we don't sell anywhere else, you have to be a patron to get those. Um, and you get your name in the credits for whatever that's worth. If you like buying ideas, which we've established that at least two of us do. Trying to think
Dozens
of
of
anything
us.
else. Yeah, there are dozens of us, dozens. Um, support Ryan as well, please. This was a blast. I'm sure you don't need some random stranger if you're watching Ryan's channel to tell you to support Ryan, but please support Ryan. This was a blast and a half. I love this. I am happy to come back to this show anytime. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah, this was great, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for a wonderful conversation. You made 2 hours feel like 20 minutes. So,
It that went fast.
yeah, it went really fast.
Thank you for sharing your time with me, your kind words, your constructive criticism. That is a very valuable resource that people are afraid to give or receive. So people become afraid to give. So yeah, I appreciate you, man. This has been great. Everybody at home, thank you for hanging out with us. I hope you had half as much fun as I did.
If they did, then this will be like the highest watch time on a video. They'll be like the whole way through because I'm pumped to rewatch this, and I'm like, I was a
Yes,
part of
yeah.
it.
High praise. All right.
Uh,
Thank you, everybody. Be kind. Have fun. Peace.
Peace.